The Grand Hall of the Galactic Council stretched higher than any building on Earth, its crystal walls reaching up into the purple alien sky. Ambassador James Walker stood at its entrance, straightening his dark blue uniform one final time. His weathered face reflected in the polished surface of the door, showing a man in his 50s with gray hair and determined brown eyes. "Ready, Ambassador?" asked Captain Tom Reed, his military escort. The younger officer's hand rested carefully on his ceremonial weapon, a gesture that didn't go unnoticed by the alien guards. Walker nodded, his expression calm despite the weight of humanity's future resting on his shoulders. As ready as anyone can be when representing 8 billion people. The massive doors slid open with a soft hum, revealing a chamber filled with the most powerful beings in the known galaxy. Hundreds of alien species sat in rising tiers, their bodies ranging from nearly human-like to completely foreign. Some glowed with inner light, while others shifted like living shadows. Walker walked forward, his steps echoing in the sudden silence. He'd studied the protocols for months, but seeing the council in person was different from any simulation. The air itself felt heavy with age and power, carrying scents his human nose couldn't quite process. At the center of the chamber stood the speaker's platform, where 5 of the oldest species in the galaxy sat in judgment. Their leader, a being of pure energy contained within a crystalline form, spoke first. Ambassador Walker of Earth, the translator in his ear converted the complex harmonics into English. "You come before us seeking membership in the Galactic Council. Your species is young, barely a century of spaceflight. Why should we accept such newcomers?" Walker stood straight, his voice clear and steady. "Honorable Speaker, Earth may be young in galactic terms, but humanity has much to offer. In just 3 centuries since our Industrial Revolution, we've advanced from steam engines to faster-than-light travel. Our adaptability, creativity, and determination make us valuable allies." Murmurs rippled through the chamber. Some sounded interested, others dismissive. Walker noticed several of the elder species exchanging looks he couldn't quite read. A representative from one of the militant species, their scaled skin gleaming under the chamber's lights, leaned forward. "We've reviewed your history, human. Your species has fought countless wars among themselves. How can we trust such violent beings? It's precisely because we understand war's cost that we seek peace," Walker replied. "Our history taught us the value of unity. Earth now stands together, ready to join the galactic community." As he spoke, Walker's trained diplomatic eye caught subtle movements in the chamber. Several guards were shifting positions, and some of the council members seemed unusually tense. His instincts, honed by years of negotiations, warned him something wasn't right. Captain Reed must have sensed it too. He moved slightly closer to Walker, his military training evident in his careful scanning of the room. The crystalline speaker rose, energy patterns swirling within their form. "The council will now begin the acceptance ceremony. Ambassador Walker, please approach the central flame." Walker walked forward, maintaining his diplomatic composure despite his growing unease. The central flame, a symbol of the council's unity, burned with different colors representing each member species. According to tradition, he would add Earth's unique signature to it. As he reached the flame, Walker noticed something odd about its pattern. His extensive briefings had covered what it should look like, and this wasn't quite right. But before he could process what that meant, he caught fragments of whispered conversations in the chamber, phrases his translator picked up. "Too dangerous to allow. Better to make an example. Show them their place." Walker's eyes met Captain Reed's across the chamber. In that moment, both men realized this wasn't going to be the diplomatic triumph Earth had hoped for. But neither could have guessed just how drastically this day would change the course of galactic history. The central flame flickered with an unnatural purple light. Ambassador Walker stood before it, his hand frozen halfway through the ceremonial gesture. Behind him, Captain Reed took 2 quick steps forward, but he was already too far away to help. Now, the command rang through the chamber in multiple alien languages. The guard's walker had noticed earlier moved with frightening speed. Energy fields sprang up, cutting off all exits. Reed drew his ceremonial weapon, but found himself trapped behind a shimmering barrier, forced to watch helplessly. What is the meaning of this? Walker's voice remained steady, though his heart raced. Years of diplomatic training hadn't prepared him for such a blatant violation of council law. The crystalline speaker's voice carried a tone of cruel satisfaction. Humanity represents a threat we cannot ignore. Your species advances too quickly, thinks too unpredictably. The council has decided to send a message. Walker's mind raced. His emergency beacon was already active, sending signals to Earth. If he could just keep them talking, the consequences of this action will be exactly what we intend, interrupted one of the elder council members, their shadow-like form rippling with dark energy. Your death will show humanity its proper place. The central flame suddenly erupted, expanding to surround Walker. But this was no longer the ceremonial fire of unity. This was something else, something engineered for pain. The flames caught at his uniform, his skin, while energy fields held him in place. Through the searing pain, Walker managed to activate his neural recorder, knowing his last moments would be transmitted to Earth. He straightened his spine, refusing to give them the satisfaction of seeing him break. Remember this moment, he spoke clearly, his voice carrying through the chamber despite the roaring flames. Remember that they feared us enough to break their own laws. Remember that they chose violence over peace. The chamber erupted in chaos. Some council members cheered, others looked away in shame. A few younger species representatives shouted protests, but were quickly silenced. Captain Reed slammed against the energy barrier, his face twisted in fury. You cowards! Face us in honest combat. Walker's uniform was almost entirely consumed now, but he remained standing. His final words came out strong and clear, broadcast across all frequencies. Earth must know, must remember what they did. Remember why. We offered peace. They chose war. The flames rose higher, and Walker's dignity in his final moments would be forever etched in the memory of every being present. He never screamed, never begged. Even as his body was consumed, his posture remained that of Earth's ambassador. Through the neural recorder, Earth's government watched in horror as their diplomat burned. The transmission cut off only after Walker's heart stopped beating, carrying his last message across the light years to his homeworld. The chamber fell silent as the flames died down. Nothing remained of Ambassador Walker except ash and his melted identification badge. The crystalline speaker moved to address the chamber, but was interrupted by Captain Reed's cold laughter. You idiots, Reed said, his military training giving way to raw anger. You absolute fools. You think this will cow humanity? Make us submit? He looked around the chamber, meeting alien eyes with steel in his gaze. You just signed your own death warrant. The speaker raised their crystalline form. Take the human soldier to containment when his world receives our message. A sudden alarm blared through the chamber. One of the younger species technicians spoke up in panic. The human's neural recording. We couldn't block it. It was broadcasting on quantum channels we didn't know existed. Earth has already received everything. The chamber erupted in shouting and chaos, but above it all, Reed's voice carried clearly. Humanity doesn't forget. Humanity doesn't forgive. And now you'll learn why the galaxy should have feared us after all. In the confusion, no one noticed that Reed's ceremonial weapon was no longer purely ceremonial, and that his identification badge was transmitting more than just his rank and name. Earth's response was already beginning, and the Galactic Council had no idea what they had just unleashed. The United Earth Defense Chamber had never been so quiet. On the main screen, Ambassador Walker's final moments played out in perfect clarity, his dignity in death striking deep into the hearts of every person present. When the recording ended, the silence lasted exactly 3 seconds. Then the world changed. Admiral Jones stood up, his face carved from stone. Ladies and gentlemen, Protocol Omega is now in effect. His words triggered a series of events that had been prepared but never expected to be used. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, hidden bunkers hummed to life. In caves on Mars, massive doors slid open. Behind Neptune's dark side, a fleet of ships larger than anything humanity had ever publicly admitted to having decloaked one by one. Inside the defense chamber, military leaders from every nation activated their command codes. Screens lit up across the walls, showing humanity's true military might for the first time. "We kept this hidden," General Roberts said, pointing to a map showing hundreds of stealth ships positioned throughout the solar system. "We knew the day might come when the Council showed its true face. We were right." The President of the United Earth Government stood, her voice steady. "How long have we been preparing for this?" "Since we first detected their scout ships, Madam President. 50 years of secret preparation, every nation contributing. While they thought we were barely reaching for the stars, we were building." On another screen, Captain Reed's emergency beacon pulsed steadily. He was still alive in the Council's custody, his hidden quantum transmitter sending valuable data about the Council's defenses. "The Council thinks they've taught us a lesson," Admiral Jones said, bringing up tactical displays. "They think we'll cower, beg for mercy. Instead, they're about to learn one themselves." The President looked around the room. Representatives from every nation on Earth sat together, their usual political differences forgotten in the face of this atrocity. "Put it to a vote. Authorization for full military response." The vote took less than a minute. It was unanimous. "Execute Operation Thunderfall," the President commanded. Across the solar system, humanity's hidden strength emerged. Ships that had been disguised as asteroids revealed their true forms. Defense platforms that had masqueraded as communication satellites powered up their weapons. The Earth's entire military machine, secretly built and refined over 5 decades, awoke. In underground bases, soldiers who had trained for this day boarded their ships. These weren't the basic vessels the Council knew about. These were humanity's real warships, built with technology reverse-engineered from studying alien wreckage and enhanced by human innovation. First target, General Roberts announced, will be their forward base in the Alpha Centauri system. "They think it's hidden. They're wrong." The President nodded. "How many ships do we have ready?" 10,000 in the first wave, Madam President. Another 15,000 in reserve, plus the automated drone fleets. We can hit 50 of their key systems simultaneously. On the screens, humanity's ships moved into position. Each vessel carried weapons the Council had never seen, designed by humans who had spent decades preparing for the worst while hoping for peace. "Send the message," the President ordered, across every communication channel, in every language the Council used. Earth broadcast its response. "You burned our diplomat alive. You broke the laws of peace. Now face the fury of the species you thought was weak. This is not a negotiation. This is not a threat. This is war." As the message went out, the first wave of Earth's ships jumped to faster than light speed. They moved in perfect formation, using technologies the Council didn't know humans possessed. In the defense chamber, Admiral Jones watched the tactical displays with grim satisfaction. "They thought burning one man would break us. Instead, it united us. Everything we've built, everything we've hidden, it was for this day." The President stood at the main window, watching as visible ships launched from Earth into space. Ambassador Walker's sacrifice will not be forgotten. And the Council will learn why humanity survived every challenge our harsh world threw at us. The war had begun. Humanity was no longer hiding its strength, and the galaxy was about to change forever. The Alpha Centauri system lit up with flashes of light as humanity's ships dropped out of FTL. The Council's hidden base, nestled in the system's asteroid belt, had only seconds to realize they were under attack. Commander Lisa West stood on the bridge of the EFS Retribution, Earth's most advanced warship. "All ships, execute Battle Plan Thunder. Show them what humanity can really do." The Council's base scrambled to raise its shields, but they were too slow. Humanity's first shot wasn't a laser or a missile. It was code. 5 decades of studying alien technology had taught humans how to hack it. Release the virus, West ordered. Through quantum channels, human-made AI programs tore through the Council's systems. Defensive shields flickered and died. Weapon systems went dark. The mighty fortress that had stood guard over this system for 1,000 years was suddenly helpless. "They're trying to send a distress signal," reported First Officer Mike Brown, watching his displays. "Our quantum blockers are working. They can't call for help." West nodded, her face lit by the tactical screens. Begin Phase 2. Earth's ships moved with precision that shocked the Council defenders. These weren't the clumsy vessels humans were supposed to have. These ships danced through space like water droplets in zero gravity, each movement calculated and perfect. Inside the Council base, alien commanders watched in horror as their superior technology failed them. Their own systems showed them what was happening. Humans had understood their technology better than they'd believed possible. "Their main reactor is exposed," Brown reported. "They've lost 90% of their defensive capabilities." West opened a channel to the base. "Council facility, this is Commander West of the Earth Fleet. Surrender now, and we will show more mercy than you showed Ambassador Walker." The Council commander's response came through, their translated voice shaking with rage and fear. "Impossible. You're supposed to be primitives. How did you hide this level of advancement?" "We learned from history," West replied. "Every time a more advanced civilization met a less advanced one on Earth, the less advanced one suffered. So we hid our true progress. We played weak. And you believed it. The battle was already over." Earth's ships had surrounded the base. Their weapons, a mixture of human innovation and reversed-engineered alien technology, ready to fire. "Last chance," West announced. "Surrender or be destroyed." The Council base surrendered. As Earth troops boarded the facility, they found technology and information that would help in the battles to come. But more importantly, they found proof of what humanity had suspected. The Council had been manipulating younger species for millennia. On the bridge of the Retribution, West received updates from across space. Similar scenes were playing out in 50 different systems. The Council had spread itself too thin, too confident in their technological superiority. They had never imagined facing an enemy who had spent decades preparing specifically to fight them. "Message from Earth Command," Brown reported. "All primary targets have been neutralized. Casualty report. Minimal losses on our side." They weren't prepared for our level of technology. West looked at the Council base through her viewport. "Send word to all captured facilities. Any Council member who cooperates will be treated fairly. Any who resist." She paused, thinking of Walker's final moments. "Any who resist will learn why Earth's history made us so good at warfare." As her ships secured the system, West received another update. Several younger Council species, impressed by humanity's power and horrified by the Council's actions, were requesting meetings. They wanted to switch sides. "The Council thought burning our Diplomat would show their power," West said to her crew. "Instead, it showed their weakness. They thought they were teaching us a lesson about strength." She watched as Earth Marines raised their flag over the captured base. "Instead, we're teaching them one about humanity. Never corner a species that turned its own planet's dangers into strengths." The first strike was complete, but this was just the beginning. The galaxy was learning that humanity's peaceful appearance had hidden a sleeping giant, and now that giant was awake, armored, and angry. The Great Council Chamber, once a symbol of galactic power, was now in chaos. Emergency alarms blared as reports of Earth's attacks flooded in from across the galaxy. The eldest Council members gathered in their private chamber, their faces showing fear for the first time in centuries. 50 systems lost in the first wave, the crystalline speaker announced, their usual confident glow now dim with worry. "We've lost contact with 30 more. Earth's forces are everywhere. A younger council member, representing a species that had joined only a century ago, stood up. "You told us humans were primitive. You said burning their diplomat would keep them in line. Instead, you've doomed us all." The chamber screens showed more disasters unfolding. Human ships appeared from nowhere, using technology that shouldn't have existed. Council defenses, believed unbreakable, fell like paper walls. "We must unite against them," the Shadowform Elder insisted, their dark shape wavering with anxiety. "If we combine our fleets." "No," the word came from the representative of the trading worlds, a group of younger species. "We're done following your orders. You broke galactic law when you murdered Ambassador Walker. Now we're all paying the price." More young species joined the rebellion. One by one, they announced their withdrawal from the Council. Some even declared their support for Earth, transmitting military data to human forces. In the midst of this chaos, Captain Reed was brought before them. He had been their prisoner, but now he stood tall, smiling as he watched their unity crumble. "Having some problems?" he asked, his smile growing wider as another alarm announced the fall of a council stronghold. The crystalline speaker turned to him. "Tell your people to stop this attack. We can negotiate." "Like you negotiated with Walker?" Reed's voice cut through their pleas. "Earth spent 50 years watching you, learning your weaknesses, preparing for either peace or war. You chose war." On the main screen, another council fortress fell to Earth's forces. This one surrendered without a fight, its defenders choosing survival over loyalty to the Elders. "Impossible." The Shadowform Elder raged. "How did they hide such advancement?" "Our sensors." "Your sensors saw what we wanted them to see," Reed explained calmly. "Every primitive ship we showed you held hidden technology. Every trade deal we made let us study your weaknesses. We were ready for peace, but we prepared for war." The younger species continued to break away. Some offered their fleets to Earth's cause. Others simply declared neutrality, wanting no part in the conflict they blamed on the Council Elders. Earth's next message appeared on all screens. "To all Council species who stood aside or protested Walker's murder, Earth remembers its friends as well as its enemies. Surrender now, share what you know about the Council's crimes, and you will be treated fairly." The trading world's representative stood up again. "We accept Earth's offer, and we have proof the Elders have been blocking younger species from advancing for centuries. They didn't just murder your diplomat, they've been holding back the entire galaxy." The chamber erupted in fresh chaos as centuries of secrets spilled out. Members turned on each other, ancient alliances shattered, and the truth about the Council's corruption emerged. Captain Reed watched it all, remembering Walker's dignity in death. "You could have had humanity as allies," he told the horrified Elders. "Instead, you let your fear make you into monsters. Now the galaxy sees you for what you really are." As the Council collapsed around them, the crystalline speaker made one last attempt to regain control. "If we fall, the galaxy will have no order." "No," Reed corrected them. "It will have a better order. One built on respect, not fear, and humanity will make sure no species ever faces what Walker did." The Council's power was breaking. Earth's victory wasn't just military, it was diplomatic. The galaxy was choosing humanity's open hand over the Council's closed fist, and the Elders could only watch as their empire of lies crumbled to dust. The Council's capital system glowed with weapons fire. Earth's main fleet had arrived, led by the massive dreadnought ESS Justice. On its bridge, Admiral Jones stood with Walker's family, his son Robert and daughter Emily, both fleet commanders now. "This is for Dad," Emily said, watching the tactical display as Earth's ships surrounded the capital. "They're trapped in their own fortress." The Council's capital was a massive space station built into an artificial moon. Its defenses had stood strong for 10,000 years, but they had never faced anything like humanity's wrath. "All ships in position," Robert reported. "The Council's remaining allies are making their last stand here." Admiral Jones nodded. "Launch Operation Dark Star." Across the fleet, special ships moved into formation. They carry humanity's ultimate weapon, something the Council had never imagined possible: controlled dark matter missiles. Earth had discovered how to harness the universe's hidden energy, turning it into a weapon. Council Station. Emily broadcast on all channels. "This is Commander Emily Walker. You murdered my father. Now face justice." The Council's response was desperate. Their remaining ships launched everything they had: energy beams, plasma torpedoes, gravity weapons. But Earth's fleet had trained for this moment. "Evasive pattern Delta," Robert ordered. Earth's ships moved like dancers, dodging the Council's attacks with practiced ease. "Launch dark matter missiles." The missiles streaked across space, leaving trails of bent light behind them. When they hit the station's shields, something unprecedented happened. The dark matter didn't try to break through the shields. It warped space itself around them. Inside the station, alarms blared as sections of their fortress began disappearing into tiny artificial black holes that winked out of existence seconds later. Their mighty walls meant nothing against weapons that changed the rules of space itself. "Their main shield generator is exposed," Emily reported, just like Captain Reed's intelligence said it would be. The Justice moved forward, leading Earth's fleet in their final attack. The Council's defending ships fought hard, but they were fighting an enemy that had spent 50 years preparing specifically for this battle. "Message from the station," Robert announced. "The younger Council members are surrendering. They're turning against the Elders." On the station's command level, the Council Elders faced their final moments. The crystalline speaker, their leader who had ordered Walker's death, watched in horror as human forces breached their last defenses. Earth Marines, led by Captain Reed himself, stormed the Council chamber. Their armor was a perfect blend of human innovation and reversed engineered alien technology. The Council's weapons couldn't stop them. "In the name of Earth," Reed declared, "and in memory of Ambassador Walker, you are under arrest." The crystalline speaker tried one last desperate move. "If you destroy us, the galaxy will fall into chaos." "No," Emily's voice came through as she entered the chamber. "The galaxy will be free. We've already helped form a new alliance with the younger species, one based on equality, not fear." The battle was over quickly after that. Most Council forces surrendered when they saw their leaders capture. Those who resisted learned firsthand why humanity had survived countless disasters on Earth to reach the stars. In the captured Council chamber, Robert and Emily Walker stood where their father had died. But now they stood as victors, not victims. "The dark matter weapons," the captured speaker said. "How did you develop such power?" "We didn't just prepare weapons," Admiral Jones explained. "We prepared everything. While you watched our primitive ships, our best minds were solving the universe's deepest mysteries. You thought burning one man would break us. Instead, it showed us exactly why we needed to be strong." As Earth's forces secured the station, Emily looked out at the stars. "Dad believed in peace," she said quietly. "So do we. But he also taught us that true peace comes from strength and wisdom used together." The battle for the Council capital was over. Now came humanity's greatest challenge: building a better galaxy from the ashes of the old order. 1 year after the fall of the Council, the new Galactic Assembly gathered in a different chamber. Built on Earth's moon, the Assembly Hall was a symbol of change. Its walls held flags from every member species, all hanging at the same height. No more elevated positions, no more ancient privileges. Admiral Jones, now retired, walked with Robert and Emily Walker through the hall. Where the old Council had built with crystal and shadow, humanity had built with steel and transparency. Every meeting room had windows letting in the starlight. "Your father would be proud," Jones said, looking at the massive memorial at the hall's center. It showed Ambassador Walker as he had stood in his final moments. Dignified, unbroken, a symbol of human strength. Emily touched the memorial's base, where Walker's last words were carved. "Remember what they did. Remember why." "We remembered," Robert said quietly. But we did more than just get revenge. We built something better. The main chamber was filling with representatives from across the galaxy. Young species that the Council had suppressed now sat alongside older ones who had chosen to embrace change. Earth held no special position. Humanity had insisted on being equal members, not new rulers. The first session of the day began with a report from the recovery teams. "Another Council hidden facility found," announced the representative from one of the trading worlds. "More proof of how they held back technological advancement. We've already shared the recovered data with all member worlds." This was the new way. Knowledge shared, not hoarded. The Assembly had made technological cooperation its foundation. Already, the combined research of hundreds of species was solving problems that had puzzled the galaxy for millennia. "The border situation?" asked Emily, now serving as Earth's military advisor. "Peaceful," replied a former Council species representative. "The Joint Defense Fleet is working better than expected. Turns out when you let different species work together openly, they come up with amazing ideas." The Joint Fleet was another change. Instead of one species policing the galaxy, ships from all worlds worked together. They used human tactical innovations, alien technology, and combined crew knowledge to keep the peace. "And the trial verdicts?" Robert asked. The judicial representative, from a species that had helped expose Council corruption, stood up. "The final group of Council elders has been sentenced. They'll spend their lives helping repair the damage they caused. Not revenge, restoration." This was humanity's greatest victory. Not the war itself, but what came after. Where the Council had ruled through fear, the Assembly led through cooperation. Where the Council had hidden knowledge, the Assembly shared it. The former crystalline speaker, now serving their sentence by teaching younger species, had finally understood their mistake. "We feared humanity's potential for violence," they had admitted during the trials. "We never understood that the same strength that made them dangerous could make them wonderful allies." As the session continued, more reports came in from across the galaxy. New trade routes established. Scientific breakthroughs achieved through cooperation. Faster-than-light technology improved by combining human innovation with alien wisdom. "Last item," announced the Assembly leader, a position that rotated between all member species. "The Walker Initiative has approved its 100th grant today. More young species getting the chance to reach the stars safely." The Walker Initiative was perhaps the most important change. Named for the ambassador who died for peace, it helped developing civilizations join the galactic community safely. No more fear, no more suppression, just guidance and support. As the session ended, Emily looked out the hall's windows at Earth shining above them. "We did it, Dad," she whispered. "We remembered what they did. We remembered why. And we built something worthy of your sacrifice." The galaxy had learned 3 important lessons. Humanity's strength was real, humanity's mercy was genuine, and humanity's determination could reshape the universe. The Council's greatest mistake hadn't been making an enemy of humanity. It had been refusing humanity's offer of friendship. Now the stars shone brighter, lighting the way to a future where no species would face what humanity had faced. A future built not on fear of the strong, but on the strength of unity.